In 1985, a little car came rolling out. It's called a Delorean, and it forever changed summer movies. It was Back to the Future. Tonight, we have somebody on the show that's going to talk to us about a documentary that he made about that car. Also, we have all the summer movies of ComicCon, all the news of ComicCon. It's going to be a great night tonight. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy, ComicCon Prep Show.
That takes me back. Does everybody remember the first time that they saw Back to the Future?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my
This
gosh.
song makes me wish that I could skateboard.
This song.
We can work on that.
You can if you hold on the back of a car.
Hey, there we
You
go.
don't have to do anything.
Welcome to the Con Guy ComicCon Prep Show. My name is
Don't
Jim.
take money.
I am the managing editor here at the Con Guy. We have a great group of guests and hosts tonight, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Derek. I am a contributing writer to theconguy.com.
I am Steve Concotelli. I am the producer and director of Outta Time, Saving the Delorean Time Machine.
My name's Carrie Lane. I'm a host here at the Popcorn Talk and AfterBuzz, and I'm also a filmmaker.
Hey, I'm Laura Sams. I'm married to Derek Sams over there, and also a fellow nerd.
Hey, I'm Jake Thomas, writer-director in Los Angeles, currently crowdfunding my feature film, Shedding.
Which we're going to hear about in just a second
Yes.
And I'm Cheeseman on the couch with theconguy.com.
here. And I'm got a cough. All of a sudden. I'm choosing right at that point it's time to cough. I've never coughed
Always
on
the
air
best
before.
time.
I know, like... Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in this week. We only have 4 weeks until San Diego Comic-Con, so there's a lot of news kind of rolling out right now. We have the news, we have the movies. Tonight we're going to talk all about the movies. We've perused all the blogs, all the newspapers, and all the magazines to find out what movies are going to be there. We've talked to some people, so we think we have a pretty good idea of what we can expect at San Diego Comic-Con this year. And contrary to popular opinion, it's not going to be one of those years where nobody shows up. We have a lot showing up. We know that there's
Not
some
at
people.
all.
I know it doesn't sound like it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
And speaking of movies, we are so glad to have Steve Concotelli with us tonight.
Thank you.
He's going to be closing out the second half of the show, talking to us about Outta Time, which was a documentary you guys made just a couple years ago, right?
That's right. I shadowed the team that restored the actual screen-used DeLorean for Universal Studios. And I got to have exclusive access for the entire year-long restoration as they tore a car apart and rebuilt it, and Universal let me tell the story.
And it is exciting. We some of us got together last night to see it. I saw it one time before, but it was really neat watching it last night, especially the special features afterwards, which tells a story all unto itself. So we are looking forward to talking about that. But speaking of summer movies, with $150 million, there's one gigantic franchise movie that gobbled up the competition this weekend, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And Cheeseman, you were able to go check that movie out this weekend, right?
Yes, I did. I saw it actually in early screening with some of the DreamWorks people.
And I think we have a photograph
we got a couple
of you guys.
Nice.
That's us with Blue. They had a Blue moving around there, and it actually would...
This is at Universal Studios itself, right?
Yeah, over by the AMC theater, and Blue would actually roar at you, which we didn't realize until all of a sudden we heard a raptor scream behind us.
And who was it? Who was
gosh.
who was in the picture with you?
That was our friend Marie, who
She works at DreamWorks, yeah.
she works at DreamWorks. So I got to be our plus one.
Thanks, Marie. And there's another cool picture we have here. That's
They have like
wow.
pretty much a life-size T-Rex
Wow.
there. Which,
That's incredible.
I tried a little of the Owen moves with that, which I survived, so I think it worked.
It works.
I thought
yeah.
you were force pushing
works
it.
with as well. But I didn't move when
Anthony
I did
said-
it.
oh,
so
you
that's
didn't?
why I survived.
Anthony said he thought you were force pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Or the power of veganism.
And
of
we are
Scott
not
Pilgrim.
we're not going to talk a lot about the movie this week. We'll wait and give everybody a little bit of a chance to see. But what's your first reaction? What do you think?
It was a lot of fun. I wouldn't say I like it as much as the first Jurassic World, but definitely enjoyed it. And yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of dinosaurs in the movie.
A lot of people have been dinging it because its Rotten Tomato score is around like 48 or something like that
Oh,
percent.
wow.
But Lost World's
Great.
Rotten Tomato was 50. So if you like the first one, you might like this one. But we do have a lot going on this week. Derek, why don't you go ahead and jump us through
Yes.
the bulletin board?
As
So-
always, there are conventions all the time. And now that we're in summer, it's really picking up. So this coming weekend, June 29th through July 1st, there are two. The first is Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then at the same time, amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con in South Point Casino, and of course, Las Vegas. And again, that's this coming weekend, June 29th to July 1st. The following weekend, July 7th and 8th, is Garden State Comic Fest in Morristown, New Jersey. And then the weekend after that, July 13th through 15th, is Atlanta Comic Con in Atlanta, Georgia. And then, of course, the week after that is July 18th through 22nd, when we can go to San Diego for San Diego Comic Con.
And we have a lot to talk about San Diego Comic-Con because I just got...
Kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I just got my email today. Your badge is on its way, which I guess I'm one of the final people to get that badge.
I got my badge.
Did you? Did it come in the box?
Yes.
Yeah. Who was the sponsor this year?
I didn't feel there really was a particular one.
Was there a picture on the
overtly-
box?
No, it's kind of plain. The pin's cool, but I won't spoil what it is for you.
Oh, there's a pin?
Yes, you do to get a pin, and then obviously the badge, and then yeah, it wasn't. I felt there was more obvious sponsorship before, but not quite as much.
Well, I
this
think
time.
last year was sponsored by Comic-Con HQ, which was
Yeah.
their kind of gone away stream.
Yeah.
It still exists, but it exists within Amazon's channels right now.
yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Also, I was going to add Anime Expo is July 5th through the 8th at LA Convention Center.
which that's coming up not this weekend, but the following
Yes.
week. Wait,
you.
when is that? That's next week.
Yes.
Are you going to be there?
Yes.
All right, very cool.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I was looking at my calendar on my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like not this weekend, but next one. And so it's coming up really quickly.
And can you remind folks? I'm sure you'll be posting a lot on your Insta. Can you tell them where to find?
We'll definitely be following AfterBuzz's channel because we do have an anime show on AfterBuzz. So we'll probably, I'm still working out the details of how we'll be ideally live streaming interviews. I really want to do that. I did that at Sundance. I'm like, oh, we can do that for this as well. So make sure to follow the AfterBuzz YouTube page, animation. So there's different facets.
Very cool. Well, so we are going to have a special show all about, we're going to break down the panels that get announced, because they get announced probably about 2 weeks out. And so we will have a better idea of what's there now. But we'll talk about a little bit tonight about what we know is going to be showing up. Also, we'll have a special show all about all the offsites, because it's so much fun. And Carrie, there's a certain offsite that you know about that you could tell us about. What is that?
Yes, Game of Bloggers is back. I'm so excited. We just started doing RSVP. So if you have a geeky website, make sure to check out Crazy for Comic Con's website and reach out to us and let us know. So if you have, just like this is a great example, the con guy, if
We're going to be there.
Yay!
Yes.
You guys have come before and it's fun. So yeah, if you know anybody who has a geeky website, please reach out, or if you yourself have one as well. So it's a House of Blues. It's always a really fun event. It's definitely a more like a nice mixing and mingling for nerd community and especially primarily bloggers.
It's one of my favorite times of the entire convention, because it's cool to get together with everybody that is doing the same thing we're doing.
And the poster just went up, and the theme is Marvel versus DC.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
So, wear your favorite Marvel or DC and
Yeah.
do some kind of costume contest. We're still working out the specifics, but yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I should do a composite Superman one.
That would be kind of cool, like
Fun.
something both.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before we get into all the heavy-duty news about San Diego Comic-Con, Jake Thomas.
Jim, hi.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
So Jake is a friend of ours. He has guest hosted the show many times, and so we are glad to have you back on the couch. But you're back for a different reason tonight. Tell us a little bit what you're here for.
That's right. Steve's familiar with crowdfunding.
Yeah,
feature
very
films.
much.
That's right. So I'm doing that for my first feature film right now.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the rough cut down. It's called Shedding. It's a fantasy film. It's about a bored house cat that gets the chance to explore the outside world through the eyes of a human and help the people he encounters. It's delightful, it's wonderful, and we're going through post-production right now. So if anyone's interested, you should check out our Seed and Spark page. It's a great crowdfunding platform that not only does crowdfunding for feature films, but it's all for filmmakers and even is a distribution plan for them. Pledge, follow, more followers the better, more pledges the better. And our campaign ends in the second week of July, so we're
Now,
getting to the
Where do we
wire.
find you
Yeah.
specifically?
Oh yes, tinyurl.com/sheddingfilm is the project.
tinyurl.com/sheddingfilm. We will definitely put it up here on the site.
And
So
you also have a Facebook page for the film, right?
That's
Shedding
right.
a feature
Shedding
film.
feature film. Yes, on Facebook.
can you don't give away, but tell us a little bit, because we saw a rough cut of the film.
Yes, you
a
did,
very
yeah.
rough cut, and
Yeah.
I was.
How do you cast a cat?
Yeah, I know. Tell us a little bit about it.
I was inspired by my wife's pets. She has 3 cats that I take care of. And so one was so interested in going outside, I just was like, I just want to kind of almost like you like kind of capture things as they happen, and so I just was filming this over the course of actually years, and slowly built and organically built, and then eventually wrote a script based off of that and cast actors in it, and we shot it all together. Like everything was self-funded up to now.
Yeah.
Catering's
That's
pretty
awesome.
easy.
Yeah, oh yeah, for a cat it's very
Yeah.
easy.
There
Yeah.
you go. Here's your
But it's not just a cat. You had to cast an adult who could play a cat.
That's right. Yeah, he's a great actor, Lex Quarterman. He's been to Sundance.
Did
in
he
a couple
go full
films.
method at eating cat food?
He stopped right before that. So, but we have some unused footage where he was like nose deep in, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cut. No, just cut.
Some of the footage we saw, he was full on cat. Let's
Yeah.
just say
It was very impressive, and actually, what we know about Lex, he's done trapeze work, acrobatics type
He's
stuff,
an
and
acrobat,
so
he's a mime.
yeah, so he is very aware of all his movements and everything,
Ah.
and there's the physicality of
Yeah.
playing a cat
sounds
suddenly
perfect.
transformed into a human. It really worked.
I was just impressed with just the way he would cock his head. It was very
Yeah.
cat-like, and the way he would stare like a cat. You know, like cats could take you or leave you. They don't care if you're there, and he captured that very well.
He was great. He was great to work with too. A good sport.
All right,
Yeah.
Cheeseman hit.
I would say it's the best cat film since Milo and Otis.
Thank you.
That is high praise.
Oh, wow.
I'll just go out and say it.
I don't know what that film is.
Oh,
Jiminy.
Okay,
know.
I had a Milo and an Otisina.
Oh, really?
Really?
I had a
we
Milo
had
and
we
Otis.
named,
imagine
we had a Milo and
Homeward
an
Bound:
Otis.
The Incredible Journey without the celebrity voices, with a British narrator.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh.
it is the most beautiful and heartbreaking and beautiful movie ever.
British narrators make everything better. Cheeseman, have you donated yet?
I got it right here. A live donation.
Live donation. I have not yet donated. I will. What are you giving? I'm gonna beat you.
Call it.
Put him on the spot on the air.
Here we go.
You're doing 15. I will do 25. So what do I get for
Just
20?
kidding. I'm doing 25 too.
No, what do I get for 25?
For 25, I'd have to look at the tiers things.
Yeah.
Cheeseman, what do you get for-
You can find out what you get for 25 at tinyurl.com.
Tiny. No, I think what I get is
You get your own meme.
Oh yes,
pet
if you
photo.
if you have for 25, if you have a pet photos, we transform them into memes.
Can I do like a scare Jim
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes,
thing
please.
instead? You know, the
I
cat.
will say yes.
He will
yes,
say yes.
you'll do it.
You
You
should
can do a
just
scare
do
Jim
that
meme.
That's great.
for me.
All right, we're gonna
Just
do that.
for me or
We're gonna put it on the
me.
page
And I will
to
point
encourage
out-
you to give.
It is worth following them on Facebook just for some of the fun cat videos and memes that have been shared.
Yes, yeah.
Jake and his wife Erin, who's also his partner in filmmaking.
She's an incredible filmmaker.
Yes.
I mean, she's more
And,
energy than anyone ever
she's
met.
producing
filmmaking.
this movie. Yeah.
Yes.
And both of them are very gifted, very creative, very funny people. So they've been posting a lot of entertaining stuff on their Facebook things. So it helps them get more awareness for everyone who follows them. But I will say it's worth following just for that entertainment that they provide.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
I am in the process of.
He's
Oh, he's got his credit card out.
Good job, Luke. Do it.
He's doing
Well,
it right
speaking
now.
of
Support
movies,
independent.
I know. We gotta
We gotta move on.
Yes.
There's news.
Right
Comic-Con news. The reason we're
Comic-Con
here.
news. So we were Jake. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We will have the link on the website, and we will. Is there a trailer that we can also put on the website?
There's a video on the Seed and Spark. There's a promotional video.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, we will make sure we
With
follow
sneak
that.
peek footage.
All right. Best of luck. I can't wait to see how that turns out. All right. We've got news about Comic-Con. Guys, I got a whole lot of news here. If
Yeah,
you guys
let's hit these bullets as
let's
fast as we
hold
can.
it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Badges covered. They are coming out. Here's a big piece of news that came out this week from Comic-Con. They're closing down Harbor Boulevard in front of the convention center
which is
this year.
amazing.
Yeah, no, Carrie, I mean, what would be the result of that? I mean, what would that
Well,
do?
that's the main street
main
right in
street,
front.
yeah.
Well, somebody got hit
Yep.
before, and it was not good.
was-
so
yeah.
it's one of those. It's so much traffic. There's no point for that many cars to go.
Right.
And that would probably make a better traffic flow for all of us pedestrians there.
Yeah.
Though, if you are driving in the area, why? Because it's one of those. That whole downtown area. Just don't. Like
Right.
you really should just go around.
Does
Right.
the Amtrak go pretty close to the convention center?
Well,
or
their
not?
train's right in front.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
about
like
if
the
it's
trolley.
Amtrak.
It's the trolley goes right in
Yes.
front, yeah,
Yeah.
and that takes you out to the Amtrak station.
Yes. Which
But
is
the-
very convenient most of the time.
Well, I've heard even that
Yeah.
the buses, the shuttle, all the buses are even moving down to the main
that
road.
would be great too.
And they're going to loosen up that whole area. It's going to become a great big plaza right in front of the convention center. So I think That's going to be for the best.
Would that mean they'd be lower on this, like
Yes.
on the main roadway, and then that would free up there? Oh, that'd be great too.
'Cause
Because
you know
so
how
many
we-
of those pedestrians, just that little crosswalk gets, sidewalk gets so crowded.
Yeah.
And people spill into the street
All the
anyways
time.
where the buses are. So it'd just be a safety issue.
And then you have the people there yelling at you, get off,
Yeah.
get back on the sidewalk, get
And
on the street.
if you're trying to drive on that road during Comic-Con, it's going to take you ages to get anywhere anyway.
Yeah, just don't.
So
But
it's
just know this, at the entrance, because it's going to have a big perimeter of where they're going to have the stanchion set up where you're tagging in and tagging out to get into Comic-Con this year,
They did that at WonderCon.
which is awesome. I like it. It keeps the yellow signs out further, which is, I don't mind that at all. But if you're wanting to if you do not have a badge, but you still want to participate in some of the off-sites, you have to enter it, from what I understand, towards the back side. You got to go inside the Hilton and kind of walk along the perimeter and go into the back side, because the whole
that's good
area
to
is
know.
going to be kind of like a big area for badge only people this year.
Oh wow.
wow.
Well, you pay so much for it. The exclusivity is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
So Derek, there's something cool showing up this year that you're kind of stoked about. next
Which
thing on the
one?
list.
There are a number of things. Are you talking about this one? Yeah. So yes, there's a big
The
Doctor
Other
Who panel
Time Machine.
again.
The
With
Other
their
Time
Machine,
t-shirts.
which I'm supporting tonight.
Yes.
Yes. Is that even on the camera? Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
But yeah, with Jodie Whittaker, the new Doctor,
Yeah.
which is very interesting.
So that's good news. And this is probably, we're going to cover this very briefly, because this is maybe, that was good news. There's a little bit of bad news here.
We don't like to dwell on bad news.
Right, but
So
could you guys, what's the bad news?
the bad news is Chris Hardwick was going to be hosting, and with the allegations against him, he's no longer hosting a number of panels at Comic-Con that he would have been hosting otherwise.
Right.
Though this could be a great opportunity for some new host to come up and host
Yeah.
the panels.
That's very true.
That would never get that opportunity when someone that famous is there and available. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that will bring.
Because he
someone
usually
to the
hosts
forefront.
like 12 panels.
Yeah.
All the giant
Yeah.
panels he hosts.
And a lot of people on Twitter are suggesting various different people as well. It'd be great, maybe, since it's a female doctor, why not have a female moderator? Also, give representation to people of color as well, so we can get like all kinds of people options that are available.
Yvette Nicole
I
Brown.
think it should
Yvette
be the
Nicole Brown.
Stranger Things.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be great.
I would love for her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, we're not taking this side, that side. We know that these are serious allegations, and we don't, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're just talking about how it affects the con itself.
Yes.
So,
And just as a bad representation of the community, that's
Yes.
unfortunate because it's
Yeah.
someone we all know, and
Yep.
as a representation of like nerddom, and so it's just.
and we wish her well. We really do wish her well. So, all right. So, do you guys know who John Bernthal is? Walking Dead fans. You remember Shane?
Oh yeah.
Did you hear the news? He's coming back to the Walking Dead panel this year.
Interesting.
And there's speculation about what that means, but this is perhaps Rick, Andrew Lincoln's farewell swan song year, because this is his final year on the show. Maggie as well. Lauren Conrad. Lauren
Cohen?
Lauren Cohen. Who's Lauren Conrad? Oh, she's from
Wasn't
The
she
Hills,
with
that
The
MTV
Hills,
show.
right? Yeah.
Their names are so close. That's anyway, so it's kind of cool.
Anyway.
That John Bernthal's there, but while he's there, speculation is that he's also going to be in the Punisher panel, which is kind of cool.
That's exciting.
Because we did hear that Netflix is bringing Iron Fist for sure. So Punisher, it looks like it's going to be there. So hopefully, it's going to be one of those years where we get to see a lot of cool stuff. Because Jessica Jones, have you guys seen the
Oh yeah.
season 2?
Yeah.
I don't think they're filming season 3 yet, but Luke Cage is just.
They just dropped
Just
season
dropped.
2.
Right.
So maybe they won't be. We'll see. We'll see who's going to be here there. What else we got coming?
Let's see. Mr. Mercedes.
Mr.
An
Mercedes.
offsite with an escape room and a VR experience, which you can sign up for online.
Yep.
Let's see. Better Call Saul red carpet premiere.
I'm super stoked about this.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows. And you were talking about, like, you were super excited that Better Call Saul is going to be here this year.
Yeah.
I've got to watch that.
Yeah.
You sound so excited over there.
Show
Yeah.
more excitement.
He's like,
Incredibles too.
But anyways-
Well, I hope it's there. It'll be great. So I'm alone.
No, but
I
did
love
you say he's in
it.
Incredibles
I love
too?
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I could only picture.
And the character
Saul.
looks like Bob Odenkirk.
it's a brother,
just,
right?
Yeah.
I think Mike
Okay.
should host the Walking Dead panel. Like, I got a question for you. So why'd you do the show? Like, he's on AMC, so I mean, he's the perfect candidate
yeah.
to be the host.
I
of
love
the
that
Walking
idea.
Dead panel.
So Brad had to let me know that The Hills is coming back, so we were on point to bring it up tonight.
Yes. Feel the rain on your skin.
But anyways, if you want to attend the red carpet premiere, hashtag Better Call Saul sweeps and tag 2 of your friends. And
Ooh,
the 3 of
tag
you.
me.
Nice.
So tag me and I will go with you. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Let's see. An Impractical Jokers block party at Petco Park.
this is the
They've-
3rd year in a
Yeah,
row
they've
for
had a
that.
presence there the last couple of years.
And they take over the whole park for
yeah.
Saturday, which is going to be
It's
kind
a
of
big
cool.
space.
It's a giant space,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is. Conan House on 4th Street.
This is the first. Conan is back. He's going to be at the Spreckles. Is it Spreckles Sprinkles? What's the name of that theater they have there in town?
Ooh.
I think it's the Spreckles Theater. They already have the sign up. Conan's there.
that sounds right. I feel like I
Tickets.
should know.
Did tickets go on sale? Or
I'll
you,
look it
you
up now.
reserve tickets if you can find. I think the tickets were this week, but they may be
I know
this
they go
coming
quick,
week.
so
They go within a
get on that.
second.
Yes.
But get on the waiting list because they always put some on the waiting list. But for first time ever, he's having an offsite, the Conan House. The only way we know this is because it's on the side of a bus that says it's advertising Conan.
Spreckles Theater.
And then on 4th Street, the Conan House. Nobody knows what it is yet, so it's going to be kind of cool.
Ooh, interesting.
All right.
And Ace Parking is still open, and there are still hotels available.
Wait. Who was I talking? Was I talking to you? To you?
Yes. About the hotels right prior.
Oh, well, first of all, parking. Almost everything's open except for the convention center and Hilton Bayfront, which is probably for the best because those are going to be hard to get to now that
Yeah.
the whole road's closed. Or Carrie, what else can they do?
There is parking, but really far. You gotta walk.
If you're willing to hoof it,
Walk
you can
for
find
Like a
your
10-15 minute walk. I mean, well, I'm a fast walker.
I mean, if Comic-Con is your annual pilgrimage anyway,
Yeah.
There you go.
you're probably willing to walk,
Yeah.
right?
This is true. You get those good comfy shoes and be ready to walk a lot.
But speaking of hotels, and this is kind of cool, but kind of frustrating.
Oh my gosh, so frustrating.
So frustrating. We got a downtown hotel, but it is 1.2 miles away. But for anyone who wants hotels, right now, if you go on the as of last night, on the website, there are downtown hotels basically across the street. Marriott Marquis has rooms. Of course,
Did they seem like
But
their
it's
prices
not
were
straight through.
spiked
There's
though?
certain nights that are.
not every hotel has
available.
every night. There's one hotel one of the hotels right next to it is $900 a night. So that's not a good price. But Marriott Marquis is around like $289. The Courtyard Gas Lamp, which is 0.3 miles, it's like half a block up. It has almost all nights, I think, and it's like around 200, 205, something like that.
Which
per
sadly,
night.
most
Okay,
hotels that's almost
that's
normal.
normal.
So
That's
during
pro-
Comic-Con and close, that's not
kind
bad.
of on the lower side for some of
Yeah.
those. But I was surprised when I went on. So if you don't have a hotel yet, there are hotels available still.
Do they have a limit of how many roommates you can split up in one? Probably.
Officially
Probably
4. Officially
Yes.
4.
How
And
many?
we will
Yeah,
not.
4.
A 4. Wink, wink. So,
Because
anyways,
that
I
900 one, you could just cram it.
And don't bring a blow-up mattress
wink, wink.
or sleeping pads.
Oh, by the way,
Or sleeping bags.
and we don't yet know what the Hall H procedures are going to be. Last year they had the bracelets, which they gave out at nighttime. They had the bad occurrence, and Katie was one of the people that got caught up in that. Where Katie Kawamoto, she's going to come on the show before Comic-Con gets here to talk about it. But so she got badges this year, and so she got front of line passes to Hall H because somebody took the bracelets and made 500 counterfeit copies of it.
Yeah,
And-
that's
Why?
terrible.
Why would someone do that? That's
Sold them.
horrible.
There
Sold
are horrible
them.
people in the world.
Oh.
And so the 500 people who did wait all night and they got their badges, but they came back, were not allowed to go into the Hall H that day. So it was a big mess up. So we don't yet know what's going to happen this year. We suspect there's some kind of change is going to happen for the Hall H.
But and the
procedures.
Comic-Con people, the powers that be, did take care of those people who lost that position.
really?
And that's
That's
why
good.
Katie.
They
has
really
the
took care.
front
The
Hall H
director of
passes.
Comic-Con came down and sat with everybody. Said, "Listen, we are so sorry. This is what we're going to do." They got him in. They said, "I mean, they got passes for this year,
Yeah.
which is pretty spectacular." I mean, it doesn't help the fact that they
dodged
wanted to get in and see the Warner
What?
Brothers
Too bad.
panel last
Yeah.
year, but
And of course, like the conventions, the people running the convention, it wasn't their fault that someone else counterfeited those.
Yeah.
They
No.
do try and put a lot of things in
Do-
place to prevent that.
Yeah, do they have
But-
any sort of official uniform of the people that are selling the badges that you would know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because
I-
like that would be an easy implementation of them to do, of Comic-Con to do, of like, all right, who only person who'd be selling you a badge is a very official
Yeah.
whatever.
And the way
attire.
it's been working is like you go. Have you been there when they are giving out the badges at night? And they're not selling them; they're actually giving them out for free.
Oh,
and
all those poor people.
yeah, and like and they give them out like around 11 or 12 at
Yeah.
night. And as long as you get that badge, so I have a feeling they
You're talking
might.
about the wristbands.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
The wristbands.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
wristbands. That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I've
sorry.
gotten those before when you
Right.
camp out. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they'll just make a super hard to counterfeit wristband
Maybe.
for this.
It's
Something like
unfortunate.
that,
Well,
yeah,
it's
like
almost
chipped
just
or
as
something.
waste.
Different things, but
It's almost just as wasteful, but the fabric ones.
Yeah,
I've seen those at one conventions where it's more of a fabric material that'd be a lot harder to duplicate
yeah.
than just the like paper.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do. We should move on though.
Yes.
Okay, and two things.
Jim.
There's
Go.
there's like 50 trolleys that are wrapped with
That's
all
what I was
the
going to say. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about the next point. Say it.
Trolleys.
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 What do you mean wrapped?
Well, have you
The advertisement.
the advertisements? I love the way that the trolleys are all wrapped with so many different things, and they were at first everybody thought they were going to have like 10 of them, and then it went to 20. They have like 50 different trolleys wrapped with 50
Ooh.
different IPs
cool.
from all
That's
the different
cool.
studios and TV.
That's
and
exciting.
Nerd Central.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. And then I just saw this right before the Peanuts Gallery, Snoopy and Charlie Brown and them. They're having another pop-up gallery this year, and I'm so
Aw.
that
great.
just warms my heart. Warms my heart.
All right, should we talk about
Peppermint
movies?
Patty's my gal. I love her.
Outta Time.
Sadly, I think her and Marcy might have a thing, but you know.
Should we talk about the movies that are going to be at Comic-Con?
Yeah, let's talk about the movies.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Let's just go ahead and start right off the top. What's not going to be there, Derek?
Let's see. Well, we know. Well, I know this isn't a movie. We know HBO is not going to be there.
Oh, we didn't talk about
we
that,
didn't
did
talk
we?
about that, but we know that HBO is not having a presence. Well, Game of Thrones is not coming back for another year.
And the thing that's strange about that is because of the production cycle. Next year, will they be able to? Will we have? I don't know. How is that? Does anybody know?
I can't
the-
remember the timing actually now, but we know that HBO is not going to be there. Who else is not going to be there?
Westworld.
Oh, right. Well,
HBO.
yes, that's
Because
part of HBO.
Westworld is there.
Let's see. Yeah, not Marvel.
That's the big one, and we talked about that a few weeks back. It's big that Marvel's not going to be there for Hallage,
Yeah.
but
But what would they talk about?
they can't.
can't say
There's
anything.
nothing except for I hear that they are.
I always thought they were going to reveal the Avengers title during.
I did
Comic-Con.
too. I thought
Yeah.
that's
Is
what
that
it was
not
going
a
to.
thing?
They're not having a Hall H, although they are having a 10-year anniversary Ballroom 20 presentation. So we'll see what that is.
Okay.
And the cover of the book, the guidebook this year is Marvel's 10-year anniversary with all the Marvel characters and
Awesome.
all the banners and all the light posts all around town. Marvel 10-year anniversary. It makes me think we might
Maybe there'd be some surprise thing.
Yeah,
Offsite.
Yeah.
I think so.
Even if
Drop
it's just
in.
Frye coming out and saying like, "Hey guys, did you see Infinity War? Wasn't that great?" And everyone's just like, "Yeah," and that's it. That's the panel. I'm
Maybe
totally
they'll
satisfied
crash
with it.
another panel.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
be like, "What's up?"
That-
That'd be fun.
What if they did tag on to the end of the 10-year anniversary? And now, the official title is Infinity War Part 2.
What if Kevin Feige shows up and says Comic-Con is too crowded and then snaps his fingers?
Oh,
Yeah.
if I'm left there, I'm happy.
Okay.
All right.
So who?
Hey.
So who
Sound
is going to be
effects.
there? Sony is bringing Venom, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, which looks really interesting.
Yes.
Have you guys seen the trailer for that?
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's
Some
on
really
our
cool
website if you want to watch it.
You know what's kind of weird though? I was at the movie theater the other day and they had a trailer for Venom, and I could have sworn it was the trailer for Upgrade because the
looks
actors
it
look
looks
similar.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
that
even
guy.
the shot looked
And
kind of
it's kind
similar.
of a similar idea. A
Look,
guy getting
yeah.
taken over by some other
Yep.
entity.
It's,
that,
it's
yeah.
Tom Hardy and Logan. What's that?
Oh, Tony, I was like, we talked about it on horror movie.
Logan Marshall Green.
Logan
Thank
Marshall
you.
Green, yes.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, voice.
You are
Kind of
welcome.
disappointed he doesn't have Bane voice though.
Does it have who, Tony?
get you, Spider-Man.
No, please no.
And so maybe Slender Man.
What were you? Okay, but yeah, maybe Slender Man. The rumors that they might be bringing the Slender Man because Slender Man's supposed to be coming out this fall. You were telling us a creepy story.
Oh,
What's-
just the fact that the documentary Slender Man that happened a couple years ago, that attempted murder unfortunately took place in my hometown. So Slender Man is still kind of a touchy subject.
You mean the girls?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So two of them are in jail.
we
Thank
They're
God.
not in, they're actually. I don't think they're in jail. They're in therapy. They're
Okay.
under the care. I don't quite remember because I almost don't want to know. And since I'm out here, but
this on the web.
what?
We're not talking to you, Siri.
That's not weird at
Oh my
all.
gosh,
Siri is
that's so
listening.
creepy.
I think I
Right?
leaned
It's
on my phone.
AI
But no,
intelligence
but I
taking
think
over.
hopefully the girl survived and the other two
Thank
girls
goodness.
are getting the help that they need. So
And
that's
rightly so, because that was, and for those of you who don't know, it's a really creepy story
It
about
was.
two girls who became obsessed with the Slender Man
Yeah.
phenomenon online, and sadly they took a friend of theirs out to the woods and stabbed her about 21 times, trying to kill her to satisfy Slender Man. She survived.
Yep.
Thank God she survived, and the girls did get in a lot of trouble, but
They did, but yeah, hopefully because of their age, hopefully they're getting help instead of just being sentenced to jail.
I became obsessed with the Slender Man the whole story, and then that story, I saw that, I was watching that story. That was the night I was watching the story, then all of a sudden my TV turned off, everything turned off, and I couldn't finish watching it. I never saw the end of it because they couldn't get it all to turn back on. I just said, I'm going to bed. And then this Joker did a scare Jim video where he snuck into my room in the middle of the night with Slender Man dressed up, and I was like,
it's very easy to, you just put on a black suit, and then you take a white shirt and just stretch it over your face, and you look just like Slender Man to somebody just waking up.
Now you're just giving bad ideas.
and where can you find that video?
It's, if you look up Scare Jim, Slender Man, or something like that on YouTube. I can post it on the chat feature.
yeah,
here
you
if
should do
all
that.
Enjoy.
Okay, that's
But yeah.
fantastic.
So that's Sony.
But
What we think they'll have.
yeah, Carrie,
Yes.
you were talking about 20th Century Fox. What did?
Yes. So where'd that one go? Oh,
So
20th
sorry.
Century Fox. We got Predator, which is pretty exciting. New Predator stuff.
But it's The Predator.
It's written down as
Oh,
the Predator.
Yeah.
Which is it's a Predator.
Shane's black, yeah.
Shane Black.
Yeah.
Shane's black, yeah.
Shane
Sorry,
Black's-
I said that wrong. I'm wrong.
I like how reboots the shorthand is put the in front of
But
it.
we were talking a little
Yeah.
bit, and it might, I don't know if it was you, but like the movies that they may not be bringing, but that they should be bringing.
There we go.
I'm so
this one's
sorry.
even more annoying.
I know.
Anyway, sorry, I'll let you all know because one, probably no Marvel films, but they should, and then also probably no Battle Angel Alita, which sucks.
I know. But they have like,
That's been taking forever to be a movie.
I don't get it. Like they
I read
should
that
give
graphic
us.
novel like way back when, and it's like, oh, they're gonna make a movie, cool. When? I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they have Dark Phoenix in the can.
Yeah.
And so something must
And
be
there was
wrong.
a trailer for Alita as well, and it
Yep.
was interesting.
Yep.
But it's weird that they push pause.
Yeah. Derek, Warner
Yeah.
Brothers.
Well, I believe these are all confirmed. Shazam, Wonder Woman 1984, and Aquaman.
Aquaman is
Which-
like absolutely is going to be you know, the king of their
I
presentation.
mean, we've been waiting and waiting to see a trailer for Aquaman, and I'm hoping that we actually get
Oh
one
yeah,
at
they
Comic-Con.
confirmed
Have
they're
they confirmed
dropping.
that?
They're dropping
Okay.
the trailer for Aquaman.
Which
at
I'm
Comic-Con.
excited to see.
Yeah.
You know, James Wan's stuff.
I am too.
Something not Zack Snyder.
Oh, fingers crossed, everybody, please let
They
this
should
be
do
good.
something cool for Aquaman since they're right by the water. Figure out some way to.
Right?
That'd be really
Just
cool.
have Jason
Stir up
Momoa
the
just
water.
into the panel.
How
from-
close
yeah.
is SeaWorld? SeaWorld's there.
Yeah.
And you can't use the killer whales, but
Yeah.
Only
Jason
if
Momoa.
Aquaman
We can
liberates
wish.
them all.
You're right.
Yeah.
Look like air, you know, there's like those water screens that Disney makes. You know,
Oh,
do like the
yeah.
Jason Momoa coming through the water.
that'd be great.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Just a giant face like, hey.
Hey,
You're like,
dude.
all right.
It's like, yeah.
But Wonder Woman.
Would cheer.
Wonder
Yeah,
Wo-
Wonder Woman 1984.
And
Yeah.
why is that a special year for you?
Well, I've always been a big fan of George Orwell, and also that's the year I was born.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But did you? We were talking
I'm not
beforehand.
the only one here. Yeah.
No, I was born in 84.
Yeah.
83.
What was the question that we had right before we started?
It's okay, Steve.
Why did Wonder? Did you guys notice Chris Pine is
Yeah, Chris
in?
Pine
Yes.
is in that trailer or something. Or no, we don't have a trailer. He's just like in a shot.
They're-
He's
yes,
also-
they
still.
released an image.
Yeah,
It was
the
like the
image.
Captain
80s.
But what was the reason for that? Do you guys know?
Well, we were talking about beforehand that it's his child, but it's like, wait, you look exactly like him. You even got the same.
It happens.
Because there are actors that look similar enough, and that's probably what they should have done.
His
'cause-
child who was
Yeah,
born
that
in
would've been cool.
1917 and looks like that in 1984.
Right? You know?
This is it's his
Grandchild.
Yeah.
Great,
And
great
even
grandchild.
then, you
Chris
look
Hemsworth,
just
so
like
they could do
him.
the reversal thing with the Star Trek. He could be the.
Oh, that's a great idea.
See, that would have been a great.
Chris Hemsworth
yeah.
plays Steve Trevor's son.
Or it could be like a
Exactly.
dream or vision.
That's I'm hoping
sequence.
that
Yeah.
or clone.
It might be,
Yeah,
but for
or
those who
clone.
don't know, the 1970s
Martian Manhunter.
version of the TV version of Wonder Woman, they did the exact thing where it was in the war first season and then came back to
Yeah.
modern day, and there he is. Steve, what's his name? Steve Trevor?
It's like,
Trevor?
yeah,
It was-
Steve Trevor's
Yes.
son.
Junior.
Steve Jr.
That was great. That was
I'm
great.
named after my grandfather. That'll be
right.
like the scene that comes.
Just one line of dialogue and
Yeah.
it's fixed.
Oh, look, there's Aquaman jumping a shark.
Yeah. Oh, that has to happen.
But hey, Cheeseman, what about Paramount? What do we think Paramount's bringing?
A little Bumblebee, little Transformers.
Yeah.
Great looking trailer.
And this is or is not directed by Michael Bay.
It's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's
No.
the guy
What-
who
what
did
is the
Kubo. The guy Kubo and the Two Strings. It's
Oh, that's
that guy.
right. So everybody, there's high hopes that
Very
finally
high.
a
This trailer
good.
was
Bumblebee
great.
looks really good.
And
That trailer
Bumblebee
looks
is
fun.
actually a Beetle.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
A Volkswagen,
He's a Volkswagen
Beetle.
Yeah, he's a
Bumblebee.
Beetle.
Oh, okay.
Like
Instead of
that's
a
like
Camaro.
the correct vintage Beetle. I'm super excited for that.
It's
as
kind
well.
of like a tomato is a fruit type thing. You know, that's like.
No.
There's
Oh
a
my
chance
gosh,
that
no.
Pet Cemetery could be there.
Yeah, there's a-
which
Okay.
I hope they have the old man kind of. You don't wanna go down that road.
I don't know what you're
That
talking
South
about.
Park loved the parody.
And there are a couple
that
other
better
things.
be in it. And there's also Top Gun 2. Wait, what's Top Gun?
Top.
Kidding.
Yeah, there's rumors
Which would
that
be cool because
They
they
filmed
have the
it-
Top Gun bar or place down there.
you know the film.
Oh, yeah.
You know the
Oh, and
scene.
actually, the house her house was in Oceanside. I know that's true. The house.
And the barbecue joint right there
Yeah,
next to
Kansas
is
City
where
Barbecue,
they,
which is really close to the convention centers where they filmed the sleazy bar scene.
So that'd be cool if Top Gun was there. And what else might be there?
Overlord?
Are you guys familiar with Overlord?
No.
It's not ringing any bells in the room, is it?
As all by name, no.
Wait, is that the J.J. Abrams?
Is that J.J. Abrams?
No, wait.
No.
I'm trying to.
Well, I feel that title could be applied to too many different things. I'm like, that's a little too vague.
I played that game.
Novels.
I'm trying to think. I wonder if I
right.
did see a
Now, Carrie.
Yes.
trailer or something.
So Universal is bringing.
There we are.
Okay.
Ah, you're really
Universal.
excited.
I'm so excited for this. Tell everybody why.
All right, so a couple people in this panel might be excited because Halloween. And also, I'm excited because I've seen the trailer, How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Yep.
And we got Unbreakable, sequel for
I'm
Glass.
excited for
The,
that.
yeah.
Or sequel, Unbreakable sequel,
Yeah.
Glass.
Yeah.
sorry.
Glass is the sequel. Sorry, I wrote that
And
wrong.
then Mortal Engines, which that looks pretty cool. That
It does.
potential, it's one of those like,
It could
I
be
want to
awesome.
like,
Wild.
yes.
It could be, the promise of awesome and then be disappointing.
Yes.
It looks so whack.
Yeah, we'll see.
But you know what? Just the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis and Halloween and Blumhouse are coming to, I hope Hall H. Oh my gosh, that's just like.
Hall H makes sense.
Oh yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
Halloween that day.
Ah.
Anyway, so that is the we did get confirmation that Universal, that's going to be the thrust of what their thrust, get it
Haha.
of what their presentation will be. So I'm really excited about that.
If we're not careful, we're gonna run out of time.
I know we're
I
going
was
through.
gonna say.
We're out of time.
Maybe we should
Hey.
talk
Our
about.
entire life is out
Any
of
other
time.
movies? Any other movies that
No,
you guys
there-
have heard?
I have a movie I want to talk about.
All right, so.
Let's do it.
We have completed our Comic-Con talk, and we are moving into another summer
Yes.
movie discussion, which is one of my all-time favorite films, the trilogy of Back to the Future. Thank you for coming out today.
For those of us old enough to have seen it in the theater,
That was
because
me!
to see it in the theater, you had to be born before 1984.
Yes, Derek.
Or travel back to before that.
Oh no! There goes my
That was
chances.
No, we were old enough to actually see it and remember it in the theater.
So we have a really cool documentary coming out called Outta Time, and let's take a look at the trailer, and then we will talk about it. So, Tony, if you got that trailer to run for us, let's go ahead and take a look. And we see the DeLorean rolling out. This is a scene from the film.
No, this is the trailer.
It had
Oh.
been sitting out in the rain for years,
trailer,
and
yeah.
all
Yes,
these
they're like-
pieces
a
started
clip.
to
Yeah.
fall off the car.
That said they just let it
We're
sit
seeing
out.
our-
Would go
Yeah.
out there
It's-
to get
so we see
a
the-
collectible, a memento.
The car before it was
Flux
renovated.
capacitor and the time circuits
Look
are
how sad-
missing,
look
but
at
the
how
most
trashed
essential
that thing
parts
was.
of the time
Yeah,
machine
I mean,
were
it's really
just
sad
gone.
what was happening to.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Which have we even said actually here yet what this documentary is about?
The documentary is about the
Yeah.
renovation of the DeLorean
Yes.
from the film.
Yes.
And there's Bob Gale, of course.
Bob
he
Gale,
was
the
in-
writer,
in
yeah.
the documentary. He was involved with the restoration, or
Yes.
at least giving his approval.
Yeah, the restoration, it was a year-long restoration that, something very unique about it is that it was spearheaded by fans.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
In order to do the restoration correctly, instead of letting a studio do it or a big company do it, Bob Gale brought in a group of the 12 biggest Back to the Future fans, who were also time machine experts in the world, to restore it. And so, it was the first time fans have led a restoration of this magnitude on, like, the most famous movie car in the world.
It's really quite
amazing.
fascinating. And many of these guys had already built their own replica DeLoreans.
Yeah, that was actually kind of the benchmark for being on the team. I know a lot of people have come up and they say, "Oh, I would have loved to have helped restore the time machine. It's my favorite movie car." Well, the benchmark is, have you ever built your own DeLorean time machine? Because that was like
Yeah.
the entry ticket to get on the team, to even be considered for it. So it was
I
a
feel
very
it's a
high
good
bar.
benchmark.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was. It was a very high bar. I didn't even pass that bar. I was good enough to make the documentary, but I was not even allowed to work on the car because I'm not a prop guy. I'm a film guy.
Which
So,
tells you
yeah.
how, like, with standards that high, that tells you the attention to detail that was going into it,
Yes.
and how important it was for them to actually get everything right.
Yes.
What was remarkable is when they were saying that they were doing this after their 40-hour work week, doing their own jobs,
Oh
and
wow.
then coming
That's
to
love.
do this.
Yeah. It was a lot of volunteer work too, and we had people flying in from all over the world on the team because Joe Walzer, who led the restoration, he would call somebody up and say, "Hey, look, we need you to fly out to Los Angeles to work on this." And he didn't care if you were in Chicago, Milwaukee, or we had a guy from Australia. He'd say, "Buy a ticket. We need you this weekend." And if you bought a ticket and made it out, you'd be on the team. But if you were like, "Oh man, I can't," you were gone.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
can you talk? Okay, so we have a picture up here of you.
Look at that guy.
Look at this. This is you
There
and
he is.
this is the car.
Yes, my favorite picture of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the car that you see there. That is the screen used DeLorean time machine. Now there were several cars created for the film. For the first film, there were 3: the A car, the B car, and the C car. The A car is the hero car. It's the first one they built, the most detailed, and that's the one that comes out of Doc Brown's truck. It's the hero car. That's the one that you see there. That's the one that the team restored.
For
The
all
other
close-ups
cars,
and stuff
yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, and then for stunts, they created a B car, which did the fire trail stunts. The B car is also one that got smashed at the end of part 3, so that
Okay.
car no longer exists.
Yeah.
And then for the interiors, because the time machine is so small, they had to cut a car in half to get all the close-ups of the flux capacitor of the time circuit and stuff. And that was called the C car, but because it was half a car, after production of part 3, it just kind of fell apart and they threw it away. Now, they made several cars for the sequels, but of these 3 cars built for the first film, the A car is the only one that still exists from the first movie, and the only car that was used in the whole trilogy that still exists. And that's why this was like, when you think of the time machine, it's the A car. And thankfully, Universal Studios still had it.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Anthony, if you could go ahead and show the next picture. I think this is, okay, well, actually, this is a picture, this is where we met you. Well, this
Yes.
is where we met you, like, the second or third time.
I
Yeah.
met him at WonderCon because you were on a
Yes, so I
panel.
was at a WonderCon panel, yes.
And then this is at the Gamble House, which is
Hey,
Doc
Luke,
Brown's
we can't hear you.
exterior.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, what
you guys were there.
Who you see there, yeah, that's the Gamble House, which fans will know as Doc Brown's mansion. And they had an open house, and we set up shop right in front of his garage. So, like the famous Doc Brown garage that he pokes his head out of. And the man you see on the left there in the sunglasses, that's Joe Walzer. He was the head of the restoration, the taskmaster, always on task, sometimes insufferable, as he will point out, but it's because of his dedication that the car got done to the exacting standards that fans around the world would have demanded.
Yeah.
Because Joe said from the first minute, if any fan walks up to the car and points out something that's wrong, you're all in trouble.
Right, right. So, and then the next picture here, this, if you can take
Yeah.
us back to this moment and
Sure.
how this came about.
Well, that was after the team got
and for
the
those
car
of you
from
who
Universal.
are listening only, we're looking at a picture of the before when the car was in
Well,
serious
actually,
disarray.
this is
bare
technically
frame.
not the before.
Oh,
this
yeah.
this is early on in the restoration where once they got the car, the time machine, it looked kind of like a stock DeLorean, but a lot of the time machine parts had been missing. So the first thing that the team did is they had to strip the car down to its tub, and that's what you see here. This is after the restoration team had taken literally everything off the car, the panels, the time circuits, the seats, down to the frame. And this is the point in the restoration, maybe a couple weeks in, when you look at the car and everybody in the team says, well, we're sure in it now. We better do what we said, and we got to put this thing, restore everything, and find a way to put it back together. So this is where you really kind of panic.
And then the next photo.
Yeah, and that's the finished, restored car. I took that. We took that photo the night that they finished restoring the car. It was like they finished restoring the car at 3 in the morning, and Universal picked it up at 7.
Yeah.
So there was a good a whole whopping 4 hours that we could take all these photos and
drink
wrap everything
champagne
up and
and
drink
celebrate,
champagne.
yeah.
Yes.
And the
But
next.
not near the car.
No.
Let's go ahead and finish out these photos here.
But did you have peanut brittle?
No. No
Okay.
peanut brittle.
And what is this?
That
Who are these guys?
Well, what you see here is a photo of Bob Gale and the restoration team. Once the car was finished, Bob took the entire restoration team to Universal Studios, where they had put the car on display. And I have to admit, walking into Universal with Bob, as Bob's signing autographs for fans, just making his way through the crowds and seeing the car, and like fans were there looking at the car and like, oh, these are the guys that restored it, and Bob Gale, who wrote and produced the films as well. And it was neat to see fans' reaction, and that, you know, we just feel like fans and just really enjoy the car and see people enjoy it for the first time.
Awesome. I think that's all the photos that we have. So I would love to hear the story about, like, what condition was this car and why did it need to be restored? Why did they have it in pristine condition? I mean, I thought it was out there on the lot for everybody to see.
Well, it was. The Time Machine, after filming had been completed, Universal put it on the back lot for fans to see and enjoy. And in fact, for several years in the 90s, there was a character actor, Doc Brown, who would drive the car around and he would get out and talk to fans and stuff. So if you ever went to Universal Studios Hollywood in the 90s, odds are, like, if you took a picture
I don't
with
know
the
if I have
car.
a photo, but I know I went in the 90s and I do remember that character.
So it's entirely possible that the car you saw was the real Time Machine.
That's crazy,
You
yeah.
go back and look through photos.
Yeah. Now, they did have a replica at the same time, and so, you know, Joe can tell exactly which car it is from the photos, but yeah, odds are that was the real screen-used car, and it got a lot of use. And a movie prop is not a studio fan attraction. You know, these things they're fragile. A movie prop is meant to be used for a shot for a week and then not used anymore. It's glass and duct tape. And the car was used for about 25 years. And that takes a lot of wear and tear on a regular car, much
It
less.
probably would have been better off had it been shut up in a mine for 70
Yeah, it would have
years
been.
and then dug out.
Yeah. And so, you know, the car was in, to put it nicely, less than ideal condition. But, you know, at the same time, Universal recognized that this was something that fans wanted to see. And so in the 80s, studios got rid of their props when their filming was done. But they held on to it, they kept it, and because of their forethought, that's why we still have it, when many of the other cars and props in that time, they're just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find One-Eyed Willie's ship now.
No, that got
No,
destroyed.
that's
And
gone.
like the Orca, you know, the boat from Jaws, that's gone. You know, and there's a lot of these things that would have been great that would be very valuable now, but they're just gone.
Spielberg used to say he'd go and just sit on the Orca, like when he was like working on the lot,
Yeah.
and then just one day it was gone. And it's like, well, what happened to it? And
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
trashed
They
it.
just trashed it.
That's awful.
I
Well, yeah.
remember one time going to a sci-fi traveling thing, and all they had left of Jabba the Hutt from Jedi was his eyes, because everything else had just deteriorated.
It's still pretty cool though.
Yeah, but it's just like these two eyes with no
creepy.
face,
Yeah.
just staring at like.
Yeah.
I mean, see, nowadays, studios, as soon as a film is done, everything gets inventoried, cataloged, preserved, put away. It's an entirely different method. But yeah, like in the 80s and before, like film was done, the film was the product. The props were just, they were thrown out. So,
Well, because now I wonder when were some of the first auctions of people wanting movie prop memorabilia to the extent it is today?
I know.
Because that's
Yeah,
such a thing now. Everybody wants, like, oh, I can have a piece of the movie.
Yeah, and I think that really came to life with the internet, you know, late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s, when fans who were kids in the 80s started getting money.
Yep.
Like, I want to own these props. And so they started buying them and acquiring them, yeah.
And we were watching this last night, and like I was blown away during the making of the documentary about the things that people were just taking.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
for example,
For many years, because the car was left outside at Universal, for people who don't have access to the studio, it was pretty easy to get on the lot. And if you knew friends or knew somebody or knew how to get in, you could get on the lot and you had access to the car. And the car a lot of times was unlocked, and sometimes the keys were even kept in it. And so fans who knew could sneak up there at night, and if they wanted so, they could take something off and take it home. Now, you know, sometimes they would find a part on the ground and they would take it home. Other times they were a little more intrusive and they would take stuff off the car. So yeah, there were fans who wanted mementos. But at the same time, they didn't want these things to just fall apart. They wanted to take them home and preserve them and keep them. And so when the restoration came around, Bob Gale put a call out to say, hey, look, if you took a part off the car, please give it back. No harm, no foul. You know, we won't call you up, but we would really appreciate it. And sure enough, a lot of fans returned the parts that they had taken, including the original flux capacitor.
okay, that's the part that
Yes.
That blows my mind.
That's the core of that story.
How did you get that out?
somebody
Yeah.
stole the flux capacitor.
We don't say stole. Somebody took it. They acquired it.
borrowed it.
Because
They borrowed it.
returned.
Borrowed
Yeah.
it.
But But
Borrowed the locomotive, and then
yeah, but again, what's great though is because these people had taken these items and kept them inside, lovingly preserved. When they came back to the restoration, they were in the best condition of anything that was on the car. And so in a way, they actually ended up helping the restoration by preserving them indoors for all these years. So
How'd they bring it? Was it brought back anonymously? Like, did they have a drop-off site, or were they like, "Yeah, I took it"? Or
I don't think the specifics. I think a lot of the people who did have pieces were more than happy to own up to it and to give them back, because they're like, look, as long as Bob Gale's involved, as long as this is a restoration that would be done with the love and care that we want, and the car will be done right, we're more than happy to give it back, because the most important thing that fans wanted was to make sure that this was taken care of and preserved. And that as Back to the Future fans, that's what we all want. And so they were honored and happy to contribute to get the car back to what it should have been.
Yeah, and that's such a great thing to hear about. We've talked about toxic fandoms before,
Yes.
and how sometimes people, because in their mind they're fighting for something they love, they end up being really mean about it.
Correct.
And in this case, like, it could have been a toxic fandom, people taking things, but in the end, they owned up to it, and it's just a great story of people coming together to help preserve and restore something that we all have loved
And
for
I loved
so
your
long.
take on it, that the fans were the real heroes.
They were.
And they preserved everything that you guys needed.
Absolutely. The whole point of the movie was to show that it's this celebration of fandom. Back to the Future, and Bob says this all the time, there really are the best of movie fandom. And to show fans working together, either on the team or fans returning things, or even actually fans who supported our Kickstarter, from around the world. They wanted to feel like they were a part. And the whole idea of the movie was that I knew that this process would be something that fans would want to see, to make sure that it was done correctly, to make sure it was done to the standards. And so the film gave fans a peek into that window, and it allowed them to be there for the restoration and to feel like a part of it. And that's what fandom is about.
Can I ask you, how did you become the guy that was lucky enough to document the restoration of the car?
I wouldn't say lucky, no. Actually, I am good friends with Joe Walzer, who was the head of the restoration. Joe, in the Back to the Future community, he's an iconic guy. If you were around in 2010 and 2015, Joe is the one who co-chaired the We're Going Back fan events here in Los Angeles, and those were like the 5-day massive Back to the Future events, like the Puente Hills Mall.
The one at the mall, I remember that.
Joe had them rebuild the sign and put it out there, and redid the car chase in the mall. And actually, my film premiere was at the Hollywood Church, where they had the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Yeah. And they recreated the dance. Joe was in charge of all those events. He put them on.
I remember the tickets on sale for that event. That was cool. It was cool to see on the DVD the movie we watched last night, the special extras that you guys went back to that church for the premiere.
Yeah, having the premiere of the church where they had the dance and the Earth Angel and everything. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And the stairwell, like where Marty says goodbye to his parents, is right there, and everybody taking pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
But
and you said Joey Fatone, and
Joey Fatone was there for some random reason. I know. Joey Fatone is a fan. But I knew Joe, and Joe got the restoration. I said, Joe, I would love to help out. Please let me help out. And he goes, great. Are you a mechanic? I said, no, I know nothing about cars. And he says, well, are you a prop guy? I said, no, I've never built any movie props. And he goes, well, you a DeLorean expert? Are you any of these things? I said, nope, I have no mechanical aptitude whatsoever. And so Joe just looks at me and he says, well, what good are you? And I said, I have a camera and I can document this and make a film. He goes, perfect, that's your job.
That's all of us in the room.
Way to go.
Yeah,
I don't know how to build a
job.
car or anything, but I do know a lot about the movie.
Now, when did you become a big fan personally?
Personally, 85. I was 10 in 85, so I was just at that right age to see the movie in the theater. And a lot of the family stuff and the time travel and visiting your parents went over my head, but again, that car came out and you see it for the first time, and then it travels through time, and then when it takes off at the end, it's just like I knew that was my favorite car of all time, even then, like at 10 years old. And so it's still surreal to me to even think about that. 30 years later, I made the documentary about it, and I got to work with a lot of the people who made the film. I got to meet Michael Chaffee, who was the DeLorean construction coordinator, the guy who designed Mr. Fusion. And I got to meet, Bob Gale, and I got to meet Bob Zemeckis, and I got to meet a lot of these people who were involved. And so it was just like, and of course, I get to sit in the real car.
Yeah.
So it's very surreal for it to come full circle like that, and I am very appreciative, and I still pinch myself. Although my wife is officially sick of time machine stuff, she's over it, but I still think it's cool.
Now, what did Zemeckis think of it?
Oh,
Restoration?
Zemeckis, to my knowledge, hasn't seen it, but I got to meet him because of the film,
Okay.
so I won't go that far.
Yeah.
But Bob Gale has seen it, and I know a lot of other fans have seen it. You know, like Ernie Klein is a fan, and he said very nice things about it. And Ernie Klein, of course, did Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it turns out he's a fan of the film, and you know that's neat. So
That's pretty cool. And the people that did the actual restoration, you said it's a team of like 12 people.
Yeah.
How were they? How did they know this was happening? Did word just got out in the fan community, or?
well, yeah, there was knowledge that that it was going to happen, and the fact that it was being restored wasn't secret. Like the process, and there wasn't a lot let out during the restoration. But you know, when Joe was ready to assemble his team of personal time machine Avengers, yeah, he put the word out amongst the very small, tight-knit community of replica builders. And, you know, from there, once Bob made it public that the restoration was happening, then it was just a tidal wave of people contacting Joe daily about, I'd love to work on the car, I'd love to work on the car. And, you know, again, unless you had a very specific, very high skill set, it was no.
Yeah, I mean, the electronics designer
Yeah.
in the documentary, he had worked on the Mars rover for NASA.
Correct, yeah. Ara, yeah, he is an actual rocket scientist. He designs, he worked on the Mars rover, and when it came time to do the time machine, what's interesting is originally the real time circuits in the car, they didn't work. It was all movie magic. There were no sound effects, the buttons didn't do anything, and it was all done in post-production. And so when Joe got this challenge, he says, you know what, we're going to make those work. Because he knew that if Spielberg or Bob Gale sat in the car, the first thing they do is start pushing buttons.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want them to work. So he hired Ara, who works at JPL, to design and build an entire custom computer system that controls all the insides of the car. So when you actually, if you were allowed to sit in the A car, you're not. But if you were allowed, you could turn on the time circuits and everything fires up, all the sounds in the exact right order. You can punch in a date, and actually it goes through the time travel event where the speedometer counts up. You know, the SID, the lights behind light up, and the flux capacitor will have the blinding light, and then it powers all back down. All precisely movie accurate, and so it actually works better than it did in the film.
That's
cool.
The time circuits turning on is probably the best sound effect in movies, behind an igniting lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then right in front of the Iron Man's repulsors turning on.
Absolutely.
Now, if needed, could it go 88 miles per hour?
Maybe.
I know.
Maybe. That's
I mean,
that's
that DeLorean
pushing it.
was never great on
Downhill,
gas.
maybe.
So,
All right.
yeah.
all right.
So
Well, pushed by a train.
Yeah.
So can we? And since we're coming towards the end of the show,
Yes.
the end of the actual film,
Yeah.
was a very happy ending. And
It
can you
was.
tell? And I don't want to ruin.
I don't mind ruining
Okay.
it.
I mean, we saw some pictures.
No, for the end of the documentary, Universal put the restored car at Universal Studios Hollywood in a big glass case, and some fans who have seen it might remember. And so I put this in my film. I finished my film. The car is restored. It'll be here for all time. Da 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 da. A week later, Universal calls and they said, "Well, we have to demolish the building. The car's coming out." So much for my happy ending.
It looked great on film.
Yeah, I know.
though.
I'm like, well, there goes the ending of my film. But thankfully, the Petersen Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, and if you don't know, the Petersen is kind of the world-class premier car museum here in LA.
Yeah.
They said, you know what, we'll take it. And so Universal,
That's a happy ending.
Yeah.
That
and
is
so
great.
Universal still owns the car, but it's on permanent loan to to the Petersen, and it's on display 7 days a week at the Petersen Museum. And now the doors are open. You can stick your head in. You can do the Marty pose with the glasses
Nice.
like right next to it. You can get right up close. You can see all the detail. Just don't touch it.
Unless your name is Bob Gale.
Yeah.
I was watching.
Or Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill got to sit in
Did
it.
he
Of
really?
course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course he did.
Well,
Yeah.
of course,
It's a-
it's Mark Hamill.
It's a really cool museum if you haven't
I
had a chance
love
to
the
go.
Petersen Museum. It's,
Yeah.
Is it right by the Keaton Batmobile, or at least
It is.
nearby? Yeah.
They have a Hollywood wing, and it's right next to the Ferrari Spider from Magnum PI, and they have an '89 Batmobile. They have a variety of. They have a screen used Kristian there, so they have some
And
very
you-
cool cars.
and you
Place
could-
of honor where it can be preserved
Yeah.
and protected and
Yeah,
appreciated.
for all time.
And this is on the DVD. You can see this in the special features on the DVD.
Absolutely,
Right?
yes. All of this content, the film, lots of bonus features, and actually Joe and I do a commentary about the reality of the film and the reality of the restoration and just how hard they both were
Yeah.
on the film. Yeah.
So, and I was towards the end of the trailer, we saw that your documentary is actually on the 30th anniversary DVD Blu-rays.
Part of it. There's a little bit of confusion there. Yes. In 2015, when I was doing the film, Universal saw it and they said, "This is great." And don't tell anybody, but we're doing a 30th anniversary Blu-ray edition for Back to the Future. We'd like to put part of your film on it. And of course, Universal says they want a part of my film. I'm just like, absolutely. So I put together a 15-minute featurette, which is what they wanted for the bonus features. So it's a 15-minute short miniature version of my feature film.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And my film became part of the Back to the Future legacy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like an official part.
Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
I tell people, like, I got to make an official Back to the Future film. So that's a very small pool of people.
And
who
where can
say
we
that.
find it?
You can find it on our website, Outta Time Movie, spelled just like the license plate, OUTATIME, OuttaTimeMovie.com. And it's available on Blu-ray, DVD, streaming, VOD, and region free, and we ship worldwide.
And can you, real quick before you have something behind?
I do. You mean this?
Yes, this is the coolest thing.
This I'll show right there.
Yep.
Yes, this is for our Kickstarter. We offered a very limited number of desktop displays that had pieces taken off the screen-used car during the restoration. Now, these were pieces that were too broken to put back on the car, but Bob Gale gave us special permission to offer a limited number of shadow boxes with a COA that Bob signed. No, you can't have this one. But yeah, these were wildly popular.
Oh, I know. I want one of those.
Yeah, they're very, very, very hard to find
That's
now.
very cool. Thank
But
you
this
so
one's
much,
mine.
man. And but before we go, you guys may be noticing that this is Cheeseman's special episode 2 car.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Although it
Episode
doesn't
2.
have
Thank you.
Except there's no Mr. Fusion.
No,
so
Mr.
it's-
Fusion, and that may or may not be
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox's
Somebody-
signature
I just
right
want that
there.
right off
That's
if you
Michael J.
want.
Fox's signature right there. You don't smudge it. And before you go, we have to ask. So this is straight from Brad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He-
We have a fan.
We have a fan. He's swear is he on there right now?
Probably.
Okay, he swears. He sent me the
Brad.
picture. Okay, it is a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Of the. Is there a film?
No.
Okay.
No, there's.
Can you put to
there's-
rest this rumor?
I can say this definitively. There will never be a part 4 as long as Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis have any say to it, because I believe they own the character rights, the story rights, and both of them together have said time and time again that as long as they have any say, and they have a lot of say, there will never be a reboot or a part 4. That photo that went around online was just totally a fake. And now we all have to answer that question 1,000
Every
more
time,
times.
I know.
But yeah, no. The answer is definitively, unquestionably, no.
I think Zemeckis actually said not while I'm alive.
Correct. And and
Over my
Bob Gale
dead
has said the
body.
same
Over my
thing.
dead
Yeah.
body, yeah.
Yeah, they've said the same thing. So no.
But you know what? We have one of the greatest trilogies ever, the best summer movies ever. Even though the third one came out, I think, at Christmas time, right?
Yep, 89. Yeah.
Yeah, which was
I think that's the one I
fantastic.
did see in the theater.
All right.
Yeah.
So we do have to wrap up. This has been a fantastic show. Thank you so much for joining us this week. This has been
Thank you.
such a pleasure. Where can we find everybody?
You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
You can find me through the website OuttaTimeMovie.com.
All right.
You guys can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KaridLane.
You can find me on Instagram at LA Poet Photographer.
You can find me on Twitter at JT Hummus.
You can find me on Twitter
Where?
at Cheese on Couch and theconguy.com.
That's right. And you can find me at ConGuy Jim. Laura, I don't know if I officially congratulated you here, but thank you. You did a feature film this last year, which I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Your very first producing credit for a feature film, right?
Yes, that is
All right, that's a very cool thing. Please join us here every week. We're going to be here every weekend through Comic-Con, and then we might take a break for a week or two, and then starting at a Scare Guy after that. But all your Comic-Con news will be right here. We're going to have a lot of cool guests coming up. Please subscribe. Check us out. Give us good reviews on iTunes. And just, we know it's up. You guys are up late, so just kind of download us and listen to us anytime you want. But anyways, thank you for joining us this week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, 4 weeks of Comic-Con. Guys, we will see you there.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.